Today we're going to talk about how you can use apologizing to connect with your teen. In part 1, we will introduce what connecting by apologizing is. And in part 2, we will give some scenarios where you might want to apologize and how to do that. And finally, in part 3, we'll discuss questions you might have or barriers you might experience to apologizing. First, it's important to recognize that all of us carry emotional wounds from time to time, and oftentimes these happen when we are mistreated. Children remember these times too and also experience these emotional concerns. Apologizing to a child can help rebuild trust and heal relationships. When you take responsibility for your actions, you show your child that they can trust you. When you take the opportunity to repair a relationship, you demonstrate how important it is to you. Anytime we show up as a regular person to our kids, they relate to us on a human level. Apologizing also models behavior we want our kids to demonstrate as adults. Every human needs to apologize at some point in their life. When we apologize, we model how to be self-aware and self-reliant. We show them how to have a healthy relationship to authority. While authority is important, eventually our teens will grow up to have to exist without someone telling them what to do. If they feel like people in authority can't ever be wrong, it can prevent them from making decisions or having their own internal authority. Third, if we don't apologize, we can accidentally communicate two harmful messages. One, we might accidentally say that in your future relationships, it's okay if people don't apologize to you, and that's just not healthy. Or we might accidentally communicate that most people don't make mistakes, so if you make a mistake, you're a bad person. On the other hand, if we normalize apologizing, you help teenagers understand that we all mess up sometimes and you are still you and loved and valuable. So regardless of what happened between you and your child, whether it was recent or it was 5 years ago, apologizing is going to look very similar in both of those instances. So first and foremost, when you are apologizing, you need to be self-aware. Specifically, we have to learn how to sit with our feelings. So this is being able to understand that your feelings are your own and that you are going to have them, and nothing really interferes with that besides the fact of recognizing that, one, you have those feelings and that you have to take responsibility for those feelings. There isn't a bad feeling. Emotions are just emotions, and they happen, and they're signals that help us understand what we do and don't like. So it's really important to be able to be self-aware and sit with those feelings that you are having. And second, is to recognize the situation, how it made the other person feel. So oftentimes when I talk with parents, they might say something like, I don't understand why my student got so mad, or I don't understand why my teen got so mad. And maybe you don't, and that's okay. What's important is being able to understand or try and put yourself in their shoes, right? Try and have some kind of empathy to recognize that what happened hurt their feelings. And third, speak from yourself, right? I noticed that when I did such and such, you were upset. I'm sorry for doing that. When you say it's your fault that you were upset, or I'm sorry that you got mad, or things that put blame on someone else, it can often interfere with the connecting piece of the relationship and the connecting piece of apologizing. Fourth is to have an intent to change. Saying things like, I'll try to do better, and then actually following through with it. When you have an apology and you don't follow it with some kind of action, it can seem meaningless. So it's really important to have action after your apology. You might have some questions about what to do from there. So for instance, you might ask, what do you do if a teenager won't accept your apology? The important thing to recognize is that an apology is a learning opportunity. And if your teen doesn't accept your apology, that's a learning opportunity for both you and your teen. Regardless of whether or not the apology is accepted, there's something powerful about putting it out there. Even if an apology isn't accepted, you are giving your child an opportunity to feel connected to you. Remember, apologizing is normal and it doesn't change who you are as a person. You're not suddenly a bad person because you did something that needs to be repaired. Apologizing helps create and build that relationship you really want with your child. It's an opportunity to connect. Another question you might have is it ever too late to apologize? It's never too late. If it's been a really long time, it might be really hard for your child to forgive you, but that's okay. Apologizing and forgiveness are two separate things. When you walk in with the idea that someone is required to forgive you because you apologized, it creates tension. Remember, you're only apologizing because you want to take responsibility for yourself and because you care about the relationship. Another question you might have is, what do I do if I feel like I'm apologizing constantly for everything? It is possible to apologize too much. People can be self-conscious about what's going on. For example, you don't need to say sorry just for asking a question. Sometimes we can change our apology to a thank you. Like for instance, if you're late, you might say, thank you for being patient with me. However, as a side note, it's really important to be aware when you might say thank you versus when you might form a full apology. Thank you for allowing me to yell at you doesn't make sense. A question you might have is, if I feel like my job as a parent is to be in charge. If I apologize, won't that just mean my kid will walk all over me? Apologizing doesn't mean that you change all your parenting decisions just because your child didn't like it. You don't have to agree with your child that your decision was the wrong one in order to acknowledge that you maybe didn't explain it well or that they are hurting. You can say, for example, your anger makes sense and I'm sorry. I made you feel angry, even if you know you made the right choice as a parent. Being a parent doesn't mean you stop being a human. You will make mistakes. So the question is, what do you do when that happens? Another question you might have is, how do I apologize when it feels like my child is overreacting? First of all, if you want to build a connection, don't tell your child that they're overreacting. Remember, everyone is entitled to their emotions and everyone has their own experience of reality. The intensity of their emotions and words may make you feel uncomfortable. All you have to do in that moment is be with them and acknowledge what they are experiencing. You might say things like, I notice you're really sad right now, or I can tell this is really hard for you. So let's take a moment to summarize how apologizing can strengthen a relationship. When you model how to repair relationships and show that you are comfortable with being imperfect, a kid might feel more comfortable coming to you when they mess up and when they need help, knowing how to take responsibility for their actions. You create trust. When you consistently repair and improve your relationship, your teen will often start talking to you more.